Hi, Mike. Glad you're here.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
An audience of one.
We thought maybe we'd have some of the Brits with us because it's evening over there. I thought maybe the North
Test,
Americans.
test. 1, 2, 3.
Yep. You'd have thought so, wouldn't you? Perhaps Neil will be on long later. Oh, pardon me.
Yes, Neil was here last night or yesterday
Yep,
when we were.
he was present.
He seemed interested in what was going to happen today. So I don't know if he'll show up or not. So we're going to aim for another hour or so, Jeff. Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get through 2 more feedbacks. We don't seem to be making a lot of progress. Oh, there he is, Neil. We were just asking about. We were just talking about you.
Yeah, were your
Hey,
ears
Neil.
burning?
Thanks for coming back today.
Yes. Thank
Actually,
you.
I know how to increase your
Test,
volume
test.
without increasing my own.
1,
If I
2,
can
1, 2,
find
3.
That one.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, we're going to try for another hour or so today. So
Testing 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3.
Hello, hello.
Just adjusting my own levels in Reaper for the recording.
Neil was at a loose end. Neil had a
1,
loose
2,
end or
1,
something. He's
2,
saying.
3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Was
5.
it his big
It's too
end
loud.
that was loose?
Sounds good
Dang
to
it.
me, Jeff.
No, yeah, it's stuff that's not
Your readouts?
connected with YouTube video.
Got it.
It's my recording
Okay.
pipeline.
Okay.
I just realized I can use Sound Source to increase the volume.
Yeah,
Of
that's right.
of the,
In fact,
yeah,
that's the
and
reason
then
why I think that I told you to get it because of this
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Get
Unity
it.
or something.
Get
it
it.
was to keep Liz shut Liz up. Because very
Here we go again. You've done it. I did it the first time. You did, so we both have a strike.
You guys are really
dude.
pushing it today.
yeah, we're doing our best.
You're pushing it.
Sorry,
Yeah, you're sorry,
love
not
you.
sorry, not sorry.
sorry, not
About the same as yesterday, Neil. It's pretty. We had storms overnight, but it didn't clear the air at
Hello,
all.
hello,
It just
hello.
made it more humid. Ugh, don't like this.
hello.
Canadians complain about the weather, whether it's hot or cold or
You know what?
windy
I could turn myself off in StreamYard so you wouldn't hear me.
That's all right.
No, we can't hear you.
No,
Thank God.
yeah. I don't know if that's a thumbs up or thumbs down situation. So how are the bowls going, Nick?
We didn't have such a good game last night. Got taken out of the quarterfinals of the national
Seems
over
awfully
55
early in the
falls.
season to have quarterfinals, isn't it? Awfully early.
Well, there's an awful lot of these competitions that sort of dovetail. So you've got to get competition done at least up to the final stage, and then
Right.
later on in the season you usually have the grand final
Oh,
of
I
a
see.
nice big
Okay.
club. But
Got it.
if they spread them out too much, I think it gets a bit. They conflict with each other.
Oh, I see. Okay, it's a scheduling thing, kind of.
Yeah,
Got it.
mainly.
Got it.
Okay, I'm back. Ha!
Darn
Ah.
it, he's back.
Oh, your video just went blurpy.
Oh, did it?
Well, it's
Yeah,
okay
your
now.
video's all blurpy here.
Oh, it's fine
Ah.
with me.
Yeah,
It's fine with
looks-
me.
Oh well. The
Okay.
Canadian. It's obviously not you, Jeff. It's just because it's getting to Canada. It's struggling a bit to get across the Atlantic. That's
Right.
what
It's all that ocean water in the Atlantic that
Right.
is
It's
like
bit wet.
diluting the signal.
Seeped into the cable.
Yep. Well, apparently I don't know what the heck I'm doing.
Oh, join the club.
Oh, all right, that'll work. That'll be good enough, I guess. So I guess what we'll do is I'm not doing anything fancy. Just gonna just start right into part 2 and play your
Intro.
intro, and then
Oh, I haven't done a thing about 621.
Yeah, think about 621.
So I can when you start, I can be in the background. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Cool. Works for me.
621. I mean, whatever you want to do.
No, I don't like the background.
Oh,
Let's
look,
see.
there's a flight 621 crashed on attempting to land at Toronto.
Well, there you go. Which one was that? Was that the
Air
France
Canada,
one? Oh.
flight 621.
Or how about the number 621
What
mixes
year?
the energies
year?
of the numbers 6, 2, and 1. It's an angel number.
Oh, God, no, that
What
sounds
year
awful.
was that crash, Nick?
That crash was in 1970.
Oh, okay.
Crashed into Toronto Gore Township,
Yeah,
now
Gore
part of Brampton.
Yeah. I know where they are.
100 passengers and 9 crew killed. Canada's second deadliest aviation accident.
Oh, there you go. And that'll go right into the Air Canada thing you're going to talk about. Oh my goodness, it's all
Oh, Lord.
coming
Yeah.
together.
So I'm just trying to work out what happened. It's only 3 months old.
DC 8. Montreal Toronto. In-flight spoiler deployment due to pilot error and design flaw. Explosion after go-around, it says.
Well, apparently, yeah, the
Explosion
captain,
after go.
they were supposed to arm the spoilers at the beginning of the final approach, but the captain didn't like doing it there, saying it could lead to an inadvertent spoiler deployment. So he preferred not arming them at all, but deploying them once on the ground, whilst the co-pilot preferred arming them during the flare. Neither procedure was approved.
Great.
What kind of
Couple of-
airplane?
DC-8.
Couple of cowboys. Sounds like a
Yep.
couple
What
of
happened
cowboys.
was they executed the arming just above the runway. The nose pitched up, increased its rate of descent. Oh, well, that's normal. That's what they planned to do. Well, in this particular case, the captain said, "All right, give them to me on the flare. I've given up."
Were those his last words?
Yeah, more or less.
Great.
They were 60 feet from the runway
I
and
don't
said
remember
okay
that
to
at
the
all.
first officer, and he deployed the spoilers instead
Oh,
of just
he didn't
arming
arm them. He deployed them.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
There's a difference.
Yeah. The aircraft sank heavily. Captain pulled back on the control column, applied full thrust. They hit the runway with enough force that the number 4 engine pylon broke off the wing. Fucking hell.
Oh, that's pretty hard.
Oh, sorry about that. Yes, tail struck the ground.
God, I was 19.
The first
then. I
officer
don't
began
remember that at all.
apologising. They took off, but now they were on fire. Anyway, they never made it round.
Sounds like a major.
Everybody
I don't-
perished on that one.
I have no
Yep.
recollection of that at all.
Yeah, interesting. Actually, because it's got a lot of CRM in it, breaking of procedures, and it make an interesting plane tale, I think.
Well, there you go. You'll have to come out to Toronto and do some research.
Yeah, why not?
There you go.
Yeah.
You got decent beer in Canada?
Oh yeah, we got some good beer, especially here. I took Zeffie to a really great place. She said it was a great place when she was up here
All
last.
right, cool.
All right, we getting ready to go, guys?
I think so.
Okay, I'm going in the background.
Okay.
You,
Um,
are you allowed to go? in
and
the
this time it
background?
had nothing to do with what we said.
No, true.
Okay. Not yet, anyway.
Okay.
I'm sure. Just leave it to us. We'll upset you in some way, Liz. Okay. Let's see. Let me think about this. I'll just when you're yes. and I'll probably say something clever, I'm sure. Ow. Yeah, you did. You did say that out loud. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So 5, 4, 3, and because of the no. And the magic of podcasting. Guess what? Yes. Joining me from his studio,
In Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire.
professional photographer, former RAF RAAF fighter pilot, retired Airbus A330, A340 captain for Virgin Atlantic Airways. It's Captain Nick.
Hi there, Jeff. It's hottish over here. Did you know that? APG 621. There was a flight 621 that crashed very sadly, killing everyone on board, and it crashed in Toronto. Would you believe that?
Wow.
Very sad. I think I might make a plain tale of that.
Thank you for
There you
that
go.
uplifting story.
A show number.
Yeah. You know. Oh yeah. Well, they did. Yeah, it didn't uplift.
Not very
It,
uplifting.
it
It ran
down.
out of lift.
Anyway, well, great to see you, Captain Nick. It is part 2, and we are now the next day from the previous portion of the show, and Captain Nick has joined us, and Dr. Steph and Nick Camacho have left us, and great to see you, sir.
Yeah, it's great to be on. Thanks very much. It's perfect, really, because I've got all the kit set up for something I'll talk about in getting to know you, and it was very easy. Just sit in the chair and away we go.
Okay, excellent. Well, speaking of Air Canada, let's start off with some video. What do you think?
Yes.
Good. I was waiting for your answer. I'm going to go ahead and play the second one, I think. That kind of puts it all together. And if you'll add that to the stage. Oh, you've already done that. Oh, you're so good. You're so good. All right, here we go. Here we go. From Bass Aviation. Real aviation communications.
Tower at 707. It looks like the Wi-Fi's got some smoke or fire coming out of it right now.
Can 872, we got a lot of fire.
Roger.
Your aircraft, sir. I'm not sure where it's coming from.
Roger.
Come on. Even I can see it's coming from the right engine.
Yeah, it looks like the right engine to me.
707, taxi down the runway and turn right on runway 33 right.
We'll taxi down the runway right, exit right on 33 right, 707.
Can 872 looks like the number 2 engine, sir. Just let me know what you need to do.
The flashes appear to have stopped. Pan, Air Canada 872. We've had to reduce engine power on the right-hand side for what appears to stall, and we'll need a heading to 050.
Air Canada 872, Tower Roger. Acknowledge the pan and confirm you want to climb to 5,000 feet or stay your intention.
3,000 feet, please.
Air Canada 872, Roger, 3,000 feet and keep going right as much as you need.
Right as much as you need, 3,000 feet, Air Canada 872.
I like
Air
the
Canada
little
872,
red
any available
emergency.
runway, whatever you need, just let me know. 707, contact ground 12165.
2165, 707.
I think
It's on
that
the radar tag, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, Air Canada 777-300 performing flight 872 from Toronto to Paris Charles de Gaulle suffered a right engine compressor stall.
Air Canada
During
872,
departure.
just say your intentions.
We're going to stay on this heading 3,000 initially for Canada 872.
Like any more than
Canada
that?
872, Roger. Contact departure 128.8 to vector your round, sir.
28.8 Air Canada 872, thanks.
Okay, you know what I'm going to do?
All stations waiting to depart. No more departures.
I don't think there's anything really super significant beyond this. They just went around the pattern. They did their checklists, came in, received radar vectors for the landing runway, and were able to taxi clear. And I think they actually taxied taxied to the gate. Here, let me see if I can fast forward here. Yeah, do some little bit of vectoring / holding. I'm going to go ahead and just start from getting close to the end here. How about that? Okay, the aircraft landed safely, was inspected by emergency services. Okay, as I said, it was a happy ending. And from Air Canada, they said that there was an engine issue determined to be a compressor stall. The aircraft landed normally, was met by first responder vehicles as a precaution before it taxied to the gate on its own. Passengers were accommodated on another aircraft later that evening. There were 389 passengers and 13 crew on board the 777. They continue to say, video posted to the internet of the incident shows the engine at the point of compressor stall, which can happen with a turbine engine when its aerodynamics are affected. This can be caused by various factors, but the result is the flow of air through the engine is disrupted, causing fuel to ignite further down the engine, which is why flames are visible in the video. It is not the engine itself on fire. Our pilots are highly skilled professionals, well trained to safely manage such incidents, and in this case, the situation was quickly stabilized as per our standard procedures, and the aircraft landed normally. You know what? I really appreciate this statement by Air Canada because, you know, we are used to reading public official statements from the airlines, and they usually don't go anywhere near that level of detail.
No.
So good on you, Air Canada.
I agree 100%, Jeff. Really good. Nailed it. And made it a nice, clear explanation that almost anyone could understand. So that was fantastic. Looked very dramatic because it's at night or close to night. So those flames really do stand out. And of course, when this unburnt fuel exits the engine and then ignites, of course, it leaves quite a plume of fire. But as they say in that statement, there's no real damage. All that fire is contained inside the engine or is then out in the air. It's not actually in contact with any part of the aircraft, really. So it's not going to do any damage. So they're right. You need smooth air going through the engine because it's made up of hundreds upon hundreds of blades, all of which have to guide the air as it gets compressed till it enters the flame tubes, and that's where it's burnt and expands, and that's where you get the thrust from. And if the airflow around those blades is disturbed, and it is often in this sort of situation a bird strike that does it, that twists some blades perhaps, or it can be just a problem with the IGVs, the inlet guide vanes, that are the initial blades that help, they actually move to help direct the air at the right angle for the compressors. They might be slightly at the wrong angle, and that can cause the airflow to be disrupted. It can be several factors, but the call was very good. The official ICAO urgency. Now, 2 calls, Mayday, 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 or Pan, 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 although you'll probably find most people will just say Pan, 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 rather than the double pan, but the double pan is actually more correct. I don't have necessarily a... My speaking thing has suddenly woken up.
Alexa's telling you all about pan, 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 pan.
Exactly right. Yeah. So that's a matter of urgency. And because this isn't really a vitally dangerous thing, it's on the cusp of between calling Mayday and Pan, I would say. You can always call Mayday, and then once the situation is under control, you can downgrade it to a Pan, which is what I tended to do. Whenever I was in the simulator, we had an emergency, I'd always start off with Mayday, because you never know if it's going to escalate quickly and you may not get a full call out. And then as the situation calmed down, you finished your checklist, assessed it, you're just going to bumble around the sky and perhaps burn off a bit of fuel or dump, then I would say, okay, we'll downgrade it to a pan. So I thought that was very good. Nice clear RT. All told, it seemed well controlled. Of course, the one thing the pilots can't see is 30 feet of flame coming out the back of their engines, which might have heightened. Sorry, Jeff. Yeah.
But what could definitely escalate the situation up in the cockpit, and I'm sure you've experienced compressor stalls before, they're not quiet. They make a lot of noise.
No, big bangs.
It's like big giant explosions going on, especially with that huge engine on that 777. That must have made quite a racket and really got your attention. In fact, you know, the initial response to the flight pilots was, you know, Roger. You know, we know something bad's happening right now, so we're trying to handle the situation. But I think it was a very appropriate call. Because they still had engine. It wasn't like they lost the engine or shut the engine down. They still had some partial thrust coming from the engine. It was just, you know, they had to reduce it enough so that it wasn't still stalling, compressor stalling.
Exactly. The act of reducing the power reduces the amount of fuel, slows the airflow going through the engine, and that is often sufficient to stop it from having these momentary hiccups. So once they were safely up, they could do that. And then, of course, if the engine is running smoothly enough, with it at idle, you can leave it there. And the great advantage then is you don't lose that gearbox and all the systems that are connected to that engine. Yep. So that's a perfect situation. And also, bearing in mind, this is probably an ETOPS aircraft, the engine manufacturers and the airline are very sensitive about shutdowns. If you can get away with just leaving the engine at idle, it doesn't count as a shutdown, and they won't have to worry too much about their ETOPS certification, which might come up for review if they have too many engine failures. So that's just, it shouldn't really be in the captain's mind. He doesn't really need to worry about that, but it's just an interesting thing that the company will probably be patting him on the back for that, saying, great, you didn't shut it down, thanks very much.
Yep. Neil Anwarm in our audience says, for an F-111 pilot, 30 feet of flame out the back was just a normal Tuesday.
I think he's probably referring to the Australians.
What do they... Yeah, tell us what they used to do.
Yeah, the Australian F-111 display pilot used to do something that the Americans did until they lost an airplane, I think, which was to dump fuel out of the dumping mast, which is in the end of the fuselage, just above the jet engines, and then go into burner and light the fuel. So you not only get burners, you get this huge stream of flame coming out of the back. It goes 30 or 40 feet, and it's incredible. I don't know whether the Australians modified anything or whether they've just got very big kahunas, but they decided they were going to carry on doing this, and you can see it on many videos if you want to have a look at it. Yeah,
I think it was the latter, not the former. They have big kahunas. And if I don't know what it is, if you have like a flammable aerosol can and you spray it and then you ignite it with a match or whatever, same kind of a effect. You have to be careful.
Yeah. It's just
the can doesn't blow up in your hand.
You're afterburning your afterburner.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Eva. She's with us in the live audience.
Hi,
Eva. See you.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to the next news item, and it's another video. And Liz, if you'll add it too, and I'll go ahead and press play.
Breaking news is first at 4. Crews are searching right now for a plane that crashed in the San Juan Islands. According to the sheriff's office there, the plane went down near Orcas Island, with first reports of the crash coming in around 11:40 this morning.
Now, we actually have video of the incident obtained by Fox 13 News. As you can see, it appears that the plane was in a loop but came down too steep, causing the pilot to crash into the water. Reports out of Orcas Island indicate that some debris is already actually washing up ashore there. Sheriff's office says the plane was an older model and was flying north to south when it went down in the water and sank. Now, using flight data and FAA records, we've confirmed the plane that crashed was a vintage Air Force T-34 Mentor. It actually belonged to Apollo 8 astronaut and Island County resident William Bill Anders. Multiple social media posts and messages from friends and family since the accident say Anders was at the controls when that plane went down. There is no other information on whether anyone else was on board.
And Anders, a San Juan County resident, is famous for being part of the 1968 Apollo 8 crew that circled the moon for the first time. During that trip, he took the iconic Earthrise photo that's known around the world. His love of flight continuing after his retirement when he founded our local Heritage Flight Museum in 1996. It was initially located in Bellingham, but later moved to the Skagit Regional Airport in Burlington.
Of course, we will continue to track this story as we learn more information. Count on updates here on air as well as online at fox13seattle.com.
All right. So looking at the video footage, it seems clear that he was in a aerobatic maneuver that we call a loop. And apparently, maybe, we're speculating here, he started the maneuver a little bit too low and ran out of altitude. And I guess it's also possible toward the latter part of the loop there, as you start beginning your pull up or pull out, you experience a lot of G forces, and so it's possible that he could have had a G loss of consciousness or whatever. But if you look at the trajectory of the loop itself in the video, anyway, it does appear to me, I don't know if you can concur with this, Nick, that it just didn't look like he had enough altitude to complete the maneuver.
I don't manage to see enough of the video to recognize the maneuver. I mean,
okay.
Is it possible you can just
yeah,
see it again?
Let me do this. Let me try to bring the volume down so we don't have to listen to their commentary.
Breaking news is...
Okay. And then I'll advance it. Okay, so this is the top part of the maneuver.
Ah, okay.
And it's coming down,
so I didn't
coming
see
down.
The pull up.
And then
look,
and
you see that downward portion is very extended. I mean, I really don't understand why he's not pulling earlier. Because I think he had plenty of height to recover from that if it was an aerobatic maneuver.
Mm-hmm. It's possible that he may have had some kind of a medical situation. He was not a young man. He was 80 something.
No, he's 90. Yeah.
What?
He was 90. Yeah.
Oh, I thought they said 80.
Well, here in the notes it says 90.
Wow, that's quite something. Yeah, 90 years old. Wow, that's definitely possible that he maybe experienced some kind of a physiological issue.
Yeah, and G loss of consciousness would be a prime candidate, and it won't show up of course in an autopsy because once it's only a physiological effect caused by gravity, or the G in the turn. So once he stops turning, there's nothing to see, as it were. Interesting. I was looking very closely to see if something had come off the aircraft, because I wondered whether perhaps something had detached, failed on the aircraft, but I couldn't see anything, although the video isn't very clear. But
there was another video that I saw. Actually, it was the same video that we were seeing in this news report. However, the folks at this news station cut it off right before it impacted the water. But the video that I saw, or the continuance of that video, showed it kind of hit the water and then a big fireball. But it wasn't high enough resolution to see if there was some kind of a part of the airplane that had fallen off or anything of it. It looked like it was pretty intact to me until it just hit the water.
I didn't see anything. Nothing big anyway. Yeah, such a shame though. I mean, I did a plane tale about this. Anders was part of the Apollo crew that did one of the most remarkable Apollo flights in my mind, in that they were the first spacecraft to actually leave Earth's orbit and head for the moon and actually insert themselves into a lunar orbit. And then they actually detached the lander and flew it down towards the surface. They didn't actually land, but they went down and then climbed it back up again. In doing so, they nearly lost control of it, and then rendezvoused back with the command capsule and came back to, so they were the perfect dress rehearsal for the first moon landing. Quite remarkable. And of course, while they were doing that, they captured this fantastic photograph of the Earth, which is recognized as one of the most remarkable pictures ever taken. And in fact, Life magazine did a very good book of 100 photographs that changed the world, and it's amongst them, as you'd expect. I would be surprised if it was number one, for heaven's sake, because it just reminded everybody that it's a vitally important to keep our planet fit and healthy, because it is a tiny dot of life in a vast space, and it's just that image of our little home. It looks little when you see it from a distance like that.
And perhaps most importantly is the fact that it's all of our home. All of our, everybody, all the people that are fighting each other and killing each other. I mean, that's our place, all of us. That's what we share.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
It is.
It is. And yeah, very sad.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll hear more as the investigation continues on this, and it's sad.
Yeah,
but
I love the
he lived
picture.
an awfully long life, so that's great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because fit guy. I love the picture. That one. I love that one because he's put Second Lieutenant Bill Anders. I think that is so cool.
He looks pretty old for a second lieutenant, but
yeah,
that's just
yes. Oh, he probably would have been. Yes, I think most of them that stayed in were got promoted to pretty high levels. Yeah, he certainly does. Yeah, lucky man.
All right. Let's get to know Captain Nick. What do you think?
Don't you know me well enough?
It's the Getting to Know Us segment. Well, the second one, part 2, where we get together and find out what we've been up to here. There we go. Getting to know us. All right, Captain Nick, what have you been up to since we last recorded, which was a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, it was actually. I had a good win at bowls to get through to the quarter-finals of my area of the county, so North and East Hampshire, in the competition, which are the national over 55 singles. Anyway, thing was, I was playing a good player, but I managed to beat him, so that was great. So that continues. And then, not so well, got knocked out of about 2 others, if not more. That were team games, so a bit of a shame that. Anyway, so the bowls continues. We've had some pretty lousy weather here, but it's actually very nice to have some warmth for a change, which is rather nice. Now, on Monday, I saw a nice posting on Facebook from the United States Navy, because I follow the United States Navy Band on Facebook, mainly because I met Tuba Tony. Now, Tony played the tuba for the U.S. Navy Band. He's also,
that's why they called him Tuba Tony.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
No, it had nothing to do with his size. And also a listener. And on a Washington trip, I got together with a few of our listeners, which included Tony, and we all went around the Overhazy Smithsonian Air and Space section of the museum there. So that was brilliant. Anyway, the posting by the U.S. Navy was to congratulate Tuba Tony for for 20 years of service in the US Navy Band and announced his retirement. He's now Senior Chief Tuba Tony, and they wished him fair winds in his retirement, which is rather nice.
They said tuba, that's a lot of wind.
Yeah, and it depends where it comes from. It's usually fair.
Mostly out of the big giant bell.
All
right.
And they said he served as an instrumentalist, so he was instrumental in being also a very good defence travel administrator and a command career counsellor and the auditions director. So if you were auditioning for the US Navy Band, you had to come under his watchful eye, I'm sure. Anyway, congratulations on your retirement, Tony. And I still remember that day going around the Udvarhazy. It was great fun. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And also, I got a call out of the blue from, excuse me, from our great friend who is over there in Kansas, or was.
Columbia, Missouri?
Yeah, Tom. He's in Columbia, Missouri now, is he? Okay.
Well, I think that's where he was before. I'm assuming he's still there.
Oh, perhaps he drove to Kansas. He seemed to know. I flew an aircraft into Kansas Airport, which was going to take the Kansas City Chiefs, or whatever, the football team, to the UK for a part of a arranged match over there with another team from the United States. So they just used our grass to play on. Perhaps they didn't have enough grass of their own, I don't know. Anyway, I dumped the aeroplane, and Tom came and met me and took me out to a great barbecue place, which was fantastic fun. I introduced him to all the girls, which he thoroughly enjoyed. Anyway, he contacted me and said that ABC Channel 14, ABC Channel 14, I think I got that right. I'm just going to have a look. Is it 17, is it?
I don't know.
Not that one.
It's not like one of those numbers.
Was
ABC 17.
ABC 17.
Yeah. Columbia, Missouri. Yep.
ABC. With he was working with his meteorologist, Nate Splatter, and he wanted someone to talk about turbulence. So I went, well, I'm a pretty turbulent chap. I can do that. I've got a lot of stomach problems. That's probably most of the turbulence. Anyway, we got together on Zoom, and Nate gave me a little interview asking about my experience and, about turbulence day to day when we're flying, and, various questions. And I burbled on at great length. Oh, wow, look at that. There's something on the website, Columbia, Boone County. There you go.
Yep,
and it was a very pleasant chap, Nate. Yeah. And then at the end, I managed to drop in a few pointers on how to find the APG show. So you never know. We might get some listeners managed to give a plug. So thanks very much indeed for thinking of me, Tom. More than happy to chat. I think we might get a link to the segment when it comes out, but we'll see. I'll probably sound like a complete buffoon, but there you go. Nothing changes, does it?
I imagine you sounded very eloquent.
We'll see.
Very eloquent.
We'll see. Yeah, very eloquent indeed. So that's been my week. There you go. Oh, yeah. Cover art, yes.
There we go.
There you go, yeah. Jeff. Now
I'll let you describe this.
Well, I did notice it because Jeff had a kind of a map of where am I, and when I zoomed in on it, I went, oh, it looks like an upside down protrusion. And when I turned it round and made it the right way up, and I thought, yeah, that is exactly like what I thought it did in the first place. So we live from Lake Lanier, which is where it was, where the protuberance is sticking into. And, of course, we had a story about possible premature popping of parachutes. So we had a premature popping peninsula because of its shape. I thought that was a very appropriate piece of artwork. And there at the tip, at the little pointy end, is lovely Captain Jeff and his
that's
vessel.
That's the road vessel was there.
Oh, okay, right. Show number. At the base of the organ, up a bit more. I'm guiding Jeff's cursor right.
It's not me. It's Liz.
Stop. All right, Liz. Go back a little. That's it. That's where the 6 is. If you look and zoom in a little bit, you will see a sort of an outline on the ground that resembled that I turned into a 6, and then in amongst the trees there's a 0, a 2, and then a bit further right there's a 0. They're all made. Yeah, it was a tough one, but it's quite clear when I did show Liz. It's quite clear if you zoom in. And the badge, the show logo, is just below your little cursor there, in the just below that ditch. That's it in there.
Okay, I see it.
That's where you'll find that.
Very good.
Nice.
And that whole area right there in the campground was like a little playground for young children.
All right. Okay. Oh, that explains a lot. There you go. So that was the artwork.
That's where I spent all my time. Yeah.
It was really odd that you managed to find a camping spot on the end of a protuberance like that.
Yeah, well, that's one of my talents, one of my many talents. Finding that spot at the end of the protuberance. Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
All right. Well, we've already talked about the coffee fund. And what was that, Liz? Yeah, let's do some more feedback. And so let's go ahead and, just for the heck of it, play the feedback bumper again. Why not?
Well, it's nice and short.
Incoming message.
Okay, let's see. I think this is number 5. Is that that's a video, right? Oh, okay. Where is? Oh, here it is. Okay. Lindsay says, "Hello, APG crew. Another preventable accident that could have been a lot worse." And so we're going to go ahead and play.
I'm trying to work out
video.
how it could have been worse. But there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't die, did they? Or maybe they did. Okay, we're watching some security camera video in Bangladesh. Oh, there was a aileron roll maneuver, and they kind of bounced at the very bottom of it, hit the bottom of the aircraft, and then flung back up into the air, and starts to enter, I believe, a left turn. I can't see it. Yeah. Well, anyway, they ended up circling around, presumably to come back in for a landing. Now we can see it in the upper portion of the video frame on the left side. Some smoke coming from the back of the jet, and then it goes off. Oh. Looks like some cell phone video.
One shoot.
Looks like
2 shoots.
If you could translate that, please, while we're watching this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so they're...
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah, exactly. He's describing the parachute landing falls into the water. And now we're seeing some video of a crane extracting the wreckage of the jet in the water. I thought I had more information about this. All I have here is another preventable accident that could have been a lot worse.
Well, certainly, yeah, you're quite right. They could have died. I must admit, from my recollection
one of them actually did.
It, oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I'm kind of a little perplexed here. It was a few weeks ago when I was doing this prep work, and now I can't. This was the Bangladeshi Air Force in Bangladesh. Are you looking up the incident? Okay. I'm sorry. I should have. I thought I was all prepared to talk about this, but there was a lot of information about this and who the pilots were, etc. And I don't know what happened to it. I thought it was in this link. I mean, in this note in our show notes. But sure. Did you find some information? Okay.
Yeah,
if you'll send-
I found some text underneath the video on that link.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's the problem because I can only show
So
the
it's,
video.
do you want me to just quickly bring up the
Yeah, why don't
highlights?
you kind of fill us in a
It's-
little bit on this?
Yeah, it's a Yakolov Yak 130. He did 3 aileron rolls apparently at low altitude, and then before he touched the ground before pulling up, there was a Bangladeshi Air Force pilot Asim and his co-pilot, Wing Commander Soham Hassan Khan, both ejected. The reports are that they both landed in the Kampuli River before being rescued by members of the Air Force, Navy and local fishermen. Asim later died in hospital, while Sohan remains in critical condition. The aircraft was recovered from the water. They claimed the pilots maneuvered the aircraft away from the densely populated area near the airport to the sparsely populated area where they crashed. The CCTV footage of the incident appears to show the crash was caused by the high-risk stunt. Bangladesh Air Force claimed the aircraft crashed after encountering a mechanical failure. But I think we can see that wasn't entirely correct. That's more or less it. Say the ejection is known to exert enormous G-forces on the body, often resulting in temporary loss of consciousness. If you're going to do an aileron roll, all the time that your wings aren't level and your lift vector isn't pointing upwards, your nose is going to drop unless you unload on the stick to about 0G, which is advisable anyway, because if you keep the stick in its position and just apply aileron, you're going to have the same back pressure on the stick than you would have in level flight, which is, obviously designed to counter Earth's gravity of 1G. The nose will start to gyrate. The aircraft won't spin on its axis, as it were. So that's point number one. And point number two is not only is that a problem, although you can usually get away with 3 rolls before the aircraft becomes unstable. All the time that lift axis is pointing away, the nose is coming down, and if you don't pick it up again before you start the next roll, you're going to end up in quite a steep nose down attitude. Relatively steep. I mean, it was only about 10 or 15 degrees, but of course at their speed, they're going to lose altitude very, very quickly, which is what happened. So the trick when doing aileron rolls is you just pitch up a tiny bit, just tweak the nose up, unload, and then roll. And then when you get back to wings level, you check your attitude against the horizon to see if the nose has dropped. If it hasn't, you can probably do another one. And depending on how fast it rolls, you might get away with a third one. But honestly, doing low-level aerobatics like that is a bit foolish.
Yes.
Certainly, it was a poorly flown maneuver, I'm sorry to say.
This is the initiation of the 3rd aileron roll, I'm assuming, and now he's upside down. And as you said, doesn't look like he unloaded. And that, actually, they were very lucky that they struck the runway in this attitude.
Yeah.
Because if they had been in any other attitude, they would have died instantly.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, and then it doesn't clearly state one of the pilots died. You know why? Because it looked like there were 2 good ejections, 2 good parachutes, unless maybe one of them doesn't know how to swim or something. Perhaps, I don't know. Maybe one
Well,
of them drowned.
You guys, I'm absolutely certain, and us, we all had self-inflating life vests, life preservers. Now, they may not have been wearing a life preserver, of course. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we wore them because obviously we're a small island and a lot of flying done over the ocean. And if you're unconscious when you enter the water, no problem.
Yeah.
The water sensor in the life jacket will inflate it, and it's designed to turn you face up and obviously raise you to the surface, which might have been a problem if these guys didn't have life preservers with that system, or weren't wearing them because they had been flying over land.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Very interesting. Well, bottom line is, don't do that kind of stuff.
No,
Unless
if you're going to do that kind
specifically
of stunt, do it properly. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, when you do a slow roll, you've got time to actually translate the stick from its position in the cockpit for level flight, and as you go over onto one wingtip, you can use rudder to keep the nose up, and then as you go inverted, you push forwards to keep the nose up, and then you reverse that going round. In an aileron roll, you're usually rolling too fast for those control inputs to have a lot of effect. So you just make sure that the basic direction the aircraft is going in is correct, so that all the time that you're not giving lift to the wings, you're not going to descend.
There you go. From the expert former fighter pilot there. Great information. All right. Shall we move on to 7? All right. This is some feedback that we've had actually a lot of this feedback we've had for quite some time. This is from Alan, and in the UK. Alan Loveday, and he writes, "Hi Jeff, Liz, Nix, Steph, Rick, and the team. Thanks as always for all the wonderful aviation news and all you do. Good luck with the RV, Jeff." Thank you. That's where I am right now in the mobile studio. As a fellow RV owner, excited to hear all about your new adventures. I came across this clip, albeit in RAF colors, ode to Nick, tonight as I live on the Lizard near Royal Naval Air Station Culdrose. Is that the way you pronounce that, Nick?
Yep, Culdrose, yes.
Okay. And close by RAF St. Maughan, now closed, Cornwall.
Nearly Morgan.
Morgan. Well, where's the OR? I don't see that.
It's Gaelic. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Cornwall. The attached is a fond memory of our dear departed Seeking airframes. All we now have is a public gate guard in Navy SAR colors at Royal Naval Air Station, Culdrose. I always recall whilst sailing in Falmouth Bay and offshore races the familiar sound of the search and rescue Seekings buzzing around, and the comfort that offered sailors knowing the wonderful crews were nearby. Okay, so he's got a video we're going to see. Let's see if you'll put that on the stage, Liz. I'll go ahead and start the... Oh, it's going to be noisy. There's a... Look at that. Oh, it's a giant.
They're big people in Cornwall.
Doesn't that thing, before you saw the person walk into the frame, doesn't that look like a full-size
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
helicopter? And then all of a sudden, there's a huge person walking in front of the camera. I thought this is very impressive. It's quite a large radio-controlled model. Here, let me play a little. Let me turn the volume down a little bit. I don't think we need all that. Here we go. And boom. It's taking off. what an amazing attention to detail of a radio control model here. And the
That looks
maneuverability.
superb, doesn't it?
And it actually kind of sounds like a real helicopter.
Yeah, I wonder if they've got one of those mini gas turbines in it powering it.
I bet they do. Probably a couple of them. Very impressive. And obviously the person that is piloting this using the remote controls is very, very skilled. Yeah. Wow. Okay, I'm going to turn the volume down and I'm going to continue to read. Anyway, sadly missed but never forgotten. We're continuing with Alan's feedback. The attached clip is of a fantastic replica of the RAF version and in wonderful detail. Recently, my family were privileged to visit the new base at St. Morgan and be shown around Carlton, one of the very brave winch crew. I'm not sure what that is referring to. He has a colon. Okay. So Liz is going to take the video off, or maybe I can do that. There we go. And she's going to show us some photos that Alan sent in conjunction with this feedback email. And let's see. Today we have our wonderful crews at HM Coast Guard, St. Morgan, who now look after our coastline. We were so lucky to recently enjoy a visit and demonstration of their fantastic base and look around the airframes. What a great experience and such professional people. The technology on board is fantastic. And as a ham, he's a ham, a radio operator, I was amazed at the extent of their RF capabilities in such a small space. Our hearts and thanks go out to all they do for us in and around the Cornish coastline 24/7. Some pretty fancy instrumentation in that helicopter.
I know, a lot of glass cockpit stuff. Very impressive.
Mm-hmm. And let's see,
I don't know what aircraft that is. That's obviously not a Sea King.
No, I don't think so.
But what this new aircraft that they've got, that he got shown around, I'm not sure. But
I'm not sure either. Ah, okay. Gotcha. So some of the photos that were included, he asked us not to show on the show. A lot of shows there. So I'm sure that we would have seen the exterior of the helicopter in some of those shots. But anyway, he continues, it's a very different sound we now hear, but equally comforting, and knowing we have such dedicated and skilled crews ready and alert to look after us is such a comfort. Our thanks go out to the crews for manning their fantastic airframes and technology. Sitting at home, we have no idea what skills these crews possess on our behalf and the risks they take on a daily basis to keep seafarers and the rest of us safe. Not sure if this is of interest. Pictures included do have... Okay. So he said that these pictures do have permissions that we can show. And then he apologizes to Captain Nick. Sorry, it's all about rotary.
No, well.
And then he says, by the way, Nick, so I'm going to load up one more video that he included a link to. And he said, at approximately 14 minutes, 3 seconds timestamp in the following clip, could this be how you got your Phantom? The bear photo looks familiar. Was that you? Laugh out loud. So let's have a look at, I think I've cued it to that position.
20 of the 48 aircraft ordered were supplied to the RAF to equip 43 Squadron at RAF Lucas in Scotland, who had recently been reformed to operate the Northern QRA Quick Reaction Alert. January 26, 1972, HMS Eagle was finally decommissioned. She was officially held in reserve until 1976,
okay, that's probably all
moored in
the
the River
pertinent...
Tamar, although was constantly robbed of the
Yeah,
spare
it was that
part.
little clip. So we're going to go back and the part. So I guess they ordered, what, 43 Phantoms, Nick? And then they, turns out that they, instead of equipping 2 squadrons, they just went with 1. And then they had 20 left over. So they gave them to the RAF.
That's exactly right, because HMS Ark Royal took one squadron, and Eagle was going to be equipped with them, but they couldn't modify the carrier to handle the Phantom, so they didn't have anything to do with them. So they gave them to the Air Force, and that's how 43 Squadron got its Phantoms. Sadly, not me. I know the photograph well, but that was a professional PR crew in another aircraft that went up there specifically to take some nice color pictures. We only had black and white film in our cameras, so that was done for. I seem to recall it was either a documentary or just a newspaper article about QRA, but no, that one of the wheels on the squadron would have done that.
What kind of a airplane with the camera crew? Was that another Phantom?
I think they were in another Phantom.
Okay.
Yeah. And the guy in the back was had cameras. But
okay.
I'm pretty sure.
What an amazing photograph of the Russian Bear bomber in the background.
Nice to see color pictures of them, because all the ones I have are black and white. But they all shiny aluminium and big red star. Looks like a Bear Foxtrot to me. Could have been.
Wow.
No, I'm not sure now. Looking at it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Alan, for sending
brilliant.
in this feedback, and that was very interesting. Both. Oh. Okay. Our producer is suggesting that we skip over to number 11 from Joe. And he said, curious about your experiences with turbulence. I guess we can remove that. There we go. Hi, APG crew. I'm naturally a nervous flyer and often listen to Fear of Flying podcasts to boost my confidence. After Singapore Airlines' recent incident of extreme turbulence, I've been curious if any of you have ever experienced a scary moment or turbulence that made you question your flying careers. As a younger man, I traveled frequently as an airline employee without a care in the world. However, a late summer afternoon flight from Chicago O'Hare to Atlanta on an old 737-200 changed my outlook on air travel. I was seated next to a seasoned business traveler returning from China. As we headed south, we encountered an intense storm and had to abort our descent into Atlanta due to severe weather. Seeing my neighbor, a frequent flyer, show signs of concern made me increasingly panicked. Since that flight, I've always felt uneasy and expect the worst, even on clear blue days. I have always wondered how seasoned flight crews approach the fear of severe turbulence, if it becomes a factor at all. I would love to hear your experiences from a pilot's perspective and whether it has had any impact on your careers. Thank you very much for reading this. Respectfully, Joe from ORD, Chicago O'Hare. My experience, the reason why I retired is because I just couldn't stand experiencing that severe turbulence anymore in my life. And so I said, that's it. Well, and it also coincided with my birthday when I turned 65, which happens to be the maximum age to fly scheduled air carrier here in the United States. So actually had nothing to do with turbulence. I have been in situations where you, and I have to clarify something. When people say severe turbulence, that is basically a situation where the airplane is out of control. No matter what control inputs you put in, they have no effect on it because it is so extreme that you're just basically along for the ride. And twice in my career, I've experienced turbulence like that, and the effect that it had on me was a short-term effect, which has raised my heart rate quite considerably. Adrenaline was flowing like crazy, probably spurting out all over the cockpit, if that's possible.
What
adrenaline
color was it?
Just to make sure that. Well, thank you for asking. It was a clear fluid. I'm assuming in my mind, adrenaline is a clear substance, but I have no idea. I'm not a doctor. Anyway, and I'm just a podcaster. But your experience guides you in avoiding certain situations, and they usually are associated with very convective activity, thunderstorm activity. And so you do whatever you can possibly do to stay out of those situations so that you do not have to experience a lot of turbulence. Now, what most people would call severe turbulence probably would technically be classified as moderate. And I've been in moderate turbulence that left me with my knees shaking or my legs shaking a bit. So moderate turbulence is not fun. What most people out there in the flying public experience, and they would probably say that was moderate or severe turbulence, is probably just what I would call heavy light turbulence, where everything is completely under control. It's a little uncomfortable. You don't want your cabin crew up walking around and serving and that kind of thing. But it's not anything that we fear that the airplane's going to come, be ripped apart, like the wings fall off or anything like that. And I tell people, and I'm sure that you've had the same experience, Nick, where people are concerned about turbulence. I said the level of turbulence that these airplanes are built to and certified to withstand is so much more than you can imagine. I mean, that would be it would be extremely frightening if you actually felt the levels of turbulence that these airplanes are certified to withstand. And so what you feel is pretty dangerous and horrible is actually probably nowhere near the limits of the aircraft's capabilities. What would you say, Captain Nick?
Yeah, I have to agree. If you go by the book definition of severe, it really means that the aircraft is doing things that you can't counter. Not that it's being turned upside down, but it is. The wings are deflecting. You are getting altitude variations, which you can't counter. And of course, you're getting quite large speed variations, and those three ways of measuring it, if they all come together, and you're in severe. And also, they describe, unrestrained items are flying around the aircraft. Now, I certainly have been in that kind of a situation, and it lasted 30 minutes, which was distressing. We changed altitude. Well, yeah, we were trying to do a transatlantic crossing. So every time we wanted to get out of it, we had to get through an HF to Shamwick to try and climb out of it or descend out of it. We tried both. We couldn't get clear of it. And all the aircraft around us were encountering the same thing. In the end, we got a route deviation to a track that was 60 miles south of the one we were on. But the problem was we had to put those new coordinates in. And the guy was reading them out, but I was trying to write them down. And, of course, you couldn't read my handwriting because I could barely keep the pen on the paper, let alone decipher what I'd scribbled, because every time the aircraft lurched, the pen ran off the paper. So in the end, it took about 3 goes for him to reread it. We typed it directly into the box because you could brace your hand against the McDo, the input keyboard, and type it in. So we took 2 goes to get it in, and then we asked him to read it a 3rd time so we could read it and check that we got the coordinates all right. And that deviation to the south took us out of it, which it was just a horrible period. And of course, you've got to make PAs while it's going on, because the passengers down the back will be very upset, and quite rightly, because it is so uncomfortable in bad turbulence. But you're quite right, Jeff. The aircraft is built to withstand it, and the only problem is that you're going to get bounced around. We were completely strapped in, shoulder straps, and tightened and locked, and we were still leaving our seats. And getting jarred around, and it was really what a pilot kept cutting out and things because it exceeded the autopilot's capabilities of holding it. It was horrible, and it was a line check.
Oh,
it was
lovely.
my annual line check.
So that was
I
your
was
fault
going,
then for having a line check.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. That was terrible. So it really is. Bad turbulence is horrible, but most of the time, the turbulence we experience is very benign in comparison.
So when you were experiencing that, Nick, you're all strapped and locked in position, did you ever have the thought, like, are these airplanes really built to handle this?
Well, I mean, I've had turbulence of over 4G, but that was in a fighter. And
well, those are
when you're low flying around the valleys of Scotland and it's a windy day, you can quite easily hit a bit of ground mechanical turbulence from the ground that'll jolt the aeroplane hard, and your head hits the canopy and you watch the G meter flick up to 4 or 5G, but it is literally just like hitting a brick wall and then flying straight through it. You're gone. The aircraft doesn't actually move much. But yeah, compared with that, what the airliners can stand presumably is a lot less. But having said that, we never got any indications of an over-G on the aircraft, so it can't have been that bad. I mean, I know that my father was in turbulence that was so bad over the Andes that the aircraft was structurally damaged, and they got a special permission to fly it one flight only back to London, which another captain did, and then they scrapped it, used it for spares because it could never fly again. So it does happen.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
And there have been some cases in history, especially before the advances in radar technology, where civilian airliners flew through convective storms and actually came apart and crashed. Now,
Wow.
I tell people that can't possibly happen, but it has happened. It's been a while.
Yes, indeed. Wow.
Not recently.
I looked it up again. I did a plane tale on flight 911. Funny that number has a different connotation now, but it was a Boeing 707 out of Tokyo bound for Hong Kong, and they flew into clear air turbulence that was mountain wave off Mount Fuji, and the aircraft broke up in flight, and everyone on board died. So yes, Well, let me just point out that we're talking the first generation of jet airliners. The aircraft they build nowadays are considerably stronger and more sophisticated.
Yeah, absolutely. And the pilots are more skilled and better looking.
Definitely better looking.
Well, the recently retired, let's say, in the last 5
Yeah,
10
the
years.
available ones. We're all available.
Neil Landwarm our audience is so wonderful, Nick. They go and they think, oh, they need some research performed while they're continuing to elaborate on the various things that we're talking about here. And so he looked it up. So the definition of light turbulence is your gin and tonic vibrates. Moderate, the gin and tonic slops about, and severe, the gin and tonic is in your lap. So that's good to know.
Well, that'll teach you to drink slowly. You ought to drink your gin and tonic faster than that.
Oh, Ray Williams says, having recently taxied past a burned out DC-8 at Tokyo.
Well, the 911 aircraft that I just said about, as he departed, he went past the smoking wreckage of another DC-8 that had crashed in the undershoot the night before. So, the aircraft were falling out of the sky regularly in those days.
Not so much the friendly skies back then.
No.
I think, Joe, I hope that made you feel a lot better. And the last thing I was going to add before we move away from Joe's feedback is that, you were concerned about the experienced traveler that you were seated next to. The thing that you really need to look out for is if you can see the cabin crew, look at the expressions on their face. And if they look like they're concerned, then you should probably be as well.
Yeah, if they're sitting chatting to each other, don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to wrap it up, but I think we're going to wrap it up with this video from Texas Charlie, which just had me laughing uncontrollably. Yeah. So let me see here. Let me find it. Scroll down. Okay. Yeah, if you'll add this to the stage. Thanks, Liz. Howdy, crew. It's no joke. Buckle your seatbelt. Make sure to buckle up those who can't buckle their own. Let's take a look at this video.
And Jeff's gone very still. Yeah. Anyone in the chat room, just let us know if you can hear me. Jeff appears to have crashed his computer or something. Perhaps it... Yeah, I can see you. Yeah, you're good. So I think we'll just wait to see if Jeff comes back. Yeah, thanks, Texas and the Shark. Your video has obviously got a virus in it, and it's just it just ditched Captain Jeff. Oh, I'm sorry. Another Texas. You guys get around, don't you? By the way, can you see I've got a bit of a red nose? That's how much sunshine there's been around. Hello, he's back.
That's what severe turbulence will do to you right there. What happened?
Excellent.
All of a sudden, my
you just froze.
signal just disappeared.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Give it a go. Bang that video on.
I switched to the other internet device that I have. All right, so let's try this once more. Oh, I need to share the keynote again.
By the way, your video looks better on this device.
Okay, good. And why is it not? There we go. Okay, here we go. Fingers crossed. There's a couple gentlemen. Oh, wait, we need to start it from the beginning. How do I start it from the beginning? Hang on. Come on. Oh, I guess that is the beginning. Okay, so let me set this up. A couple of people in looks like a high-wing Cessna, I'm guessing. A small general aviation aircraft. They're all strapped in and looking very serious. Right behind them, in this small aircraft, is a dog, literally floating because they must be unloading this airplane as far as G-forces are concerned. So let's watch this. It's just so funny, especially toward the end when the dog kind of pokes his head up in between the two men sitting in the front. Wait, let's do this again. It almost at some point it looked like the dog was actually kind of trying to swim in the air. I think, like putting its little paws, like dog paddling. Okay, here we go.
Dog knocks his headset off.
I know. I think there was unloading the airplane, and then when the load came back on, the dog just disappeared and dropped. I don't know. I just thought it was so funny when I first saw it. I was just laughing uncontrollably, and I thought, I'm sure the dog is just fine. Thank you, Texas Charlie, for that. You'll have to explain why you did that to that lovely little dog in your airplane. I think Texas Charlie is one of these guys. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know where this thing came from. It just says dog goes weightless in airplane with zero gravity. Yeah. So there you go. I just wanted to end
That's
it
it.
with something kind of fun.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, I added it, and I was having trouble syncing Keynote. So yeah. Well, we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. So Nick, you don't have the. Oh, let's talk about the website, airlinepilotguy.com. It's still solid, safe, secure, thanks to Dan Faulkner and Erwin Gawalski, who were able to fix that all up for us. So thank you very much. Check it out. Lots of stuff there to see. And we're also on social media.
And on social media, you'll find us on Facebook, Airline Pilot Guy, all one word. And X, we're at APG Crew, and you can still call it Twitter because I don't care. And on the Instas, APG Crew.
Yeah. And
YouTube, if you're interested in watching the sausage being made, it's youtube.com. What's the name of that thing? Virgule,
Virgule,
or forward slash to the rest of us.
Virgule.
Virgule.
Yes.
So youtube.com, Virgule Airline Pilot Guy.
People are going, what? Just listen to a couple of earlier episodes, yeah. And also, we have, and it's not a lot of room in this little mobile studio, but I do have a shower. Hey, hello.
Oh.
Can you tell us about Slack?
Okay, but I'm dripping wet.
Okay, come over here. Sit next to me here. And again, you should use a towel. All right.
APG listeners, please join us on our Slack team. Slack is a communication, coordination, and sharing platform that works on your mobile, laptop, or browser. On Slack, we share news and ideas. We suggest episode and plain tales topics. We plan events and meetups. To get into the Slack team, please email me at slack@airlinepilotguy.com. That's SLACK, Sierra Lima Alpha Charlie Kilo @airlinepilotguy.com, or send me a tweet with your preferred email address to @Hillel, and I'll send you an invitation. That's Hillel, spelled Hotel India 11 Echo 1, and see you in Slack.
Thanks a lot, Hillel.
Jeff,
which
I
washcloth is mine? I really wish you would stop moving them.
I only have one, so just use it. Shut up.
I see you've managed to transfer the squeaky shower tap into the RV. I'd send it back. You're still under warranty, isn't it?
Yeah, it is under warranty. I should do something about
I'd
that
get
squeaky
that replaced if I were you.
tap. Yeah. I don't know. I would be lost without the squeaky tap, actually. So it gives me comfort. We'd also like to thank Liz for all the hard work that she does
Liz.
behind
Thanks
the scenes,
very much.
trying to corral us as best she can. And thanks to our live audience. Really means a lot to us for you all to show up each and every week, or every other week in this case, to lend support and information and comedy to our show. And finally, we'd like to say thanks for listening. Tell all your friends. And until next time, wishing you all clear skies, unlimited visibility, and tailwinds. Take care, and God bless.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, didn't hear that, Liz.
See you next time.
Excellent.
Good, brother.
Did you have your recorder on, Jeff?
I did. Yeah,
Okay,
I actually remembered to turn it on.
That's
It's a
good.
miracle of miracles. All right, so I just turned it off.
Okay, so Nick, just a couple of suggestions from this part of the show. Gin and tonic in your lap. Gin and tonic in your lap. And free-floating dogs. Free-floating dogs.
Free floating, yeah. I've already written Weightless dog, 0G dog.
Well, that's good. Okay, whatever you got there.
Or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Free floating and G and T in your lap. G and T lap dance.
Bye, Eva. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone, and thanks for bearing with me. This whole thing, this mobile studio, I'm still taking some.
Yeah, things are hicking up there just at the moment.
I haven't tried the Starlink yet. I have I bought this system that I can mount. The reason why I ended up getting the ladder as an option in the back is so that I can mount this flagpole mounting system, and has a little fitting on it that I can mount the Starlink Generation 2 dish to the top of it. So
maybe when you're at your mooch, you're going to mooch dock this
move
weekend.
forward
maybe,
on that.
Maybe when you're mooch docking this weekend, you can play around with your antenna. Hello?
Well, that's never stopped me. Hello?
Hello? Yeah, I don't know. You're glitching in and out here, so I
Can you
think
see
we
me?
better wrap it
Hear me?
up. Yeah, but sort of sporadically.
Dang it. Okay.
Bye, everybody. We'll see
Okay.
you next time.
Well, thanks, everybody.
Yep. Cheers, folks.
Bye.